Hi everyone, welcome and thank you so much for tuning in today to Modern Magicks, a Code Coven conference. We have talks, interviews, and game showcases lined up for today featuring the development talents of our wonderful, wonderful alumni. We also have some great guest keynotes that will be featuring mentors from our community as well. We hope you're as excited as we are to kick off this event. This is a free, totally free conference. It'll be streamed here on Twitch throughout the day. But if you would like to get more involved with additional discussion and participating in our community, you can hop on over to our Discord to join the conversation. If you would like to make a contribution to Code Coven so that we can continue making game development education accessible to our students, we are accepting donations through our Eventbrite, which go directly towards funding future scholarships for our classes. A few quick shout outs before we get started. Jillian Stiles, who created all of our motion graphics and transition sequences. And also a big thank you to Amy Kai, who is one of our alumni and created the logo for Modern Magicks. Behind the scenes for the event, I want to give a big shout out to the Code Coven staff and also to our alumni, Sam and Diana, for helping us put together this whole thing.
Hi, I'm Tara Mustafa. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the founder and CEO of Code Coven. We're incredibly excited to welcome you to our first ever conference, Modern Magicks. We've organized this event to highlight our incredible alumni and community. We have alumni joining us who were participants from our very first Intro to Game Making course, our very first incubator, the summer program, and our very first accelerator, Elevate. 2020 was a reformative year for us, and the Code Coven team and I feel so humbled that so many of you chose to spend your time with us and in our community. We're excited to see the great impact that we believe our cohorts will have in this world. This event is focused on the celebration of our alumni's work, their skill, their generosity, and the mentorship that has surrounded and supported them and us in this wild adventure. So we want to thank everyone for their generosity in sharing their wisdom, and we want to thank you for joining us today. So without further ado, I'd like to present our opening keynote speaker, Elaine Gómez.
Hello everyone, welcome to Modern Magicks. My name is Elaine Gómez, and I am so humbled and honored to have been invited by Tara and the Code Coven team to bring you a short and sweet keynote about something that I have been thinking about for a long time that I am so happy that I'm going to be able to get to share with you today. So what I was thinking about with this keynote as I was preparing was that I've always wanted to share a few things that have helped me grow with other people, and it's things that have helped me grow in my professional career, but also as a person, that have helped me really be a positive impact to the lives of other people, to my friends, to my coworkers, and just the communities at large that I am involved in. And that's really what I wanted to share today. So I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to do that. And I decided to title this keynote Becoming. Over the past year, I feel like I have really come into my own as a person, as a young woman of color, as a designer in the games industry, as a person who advocates for marginalized folks. I really feel that I have been able to grow and become that person of influence that I really have been aspiring to be for many, many years. And I'm just in the infancy of all of that. I'm still very young, trying to make a difference. But I feel like now more than ever, I have really set the tone for my career as a professional designer and just an advocate for folks. So today I'm going to be sharing 4 tips that helped me level up as a designer and have helped me make an impact around me. So let's begin with introducing who I am. My name is Elaine Gómez, and I am a game designer at an indie studio based in Phoenix, Arizona, in the United States, called Elaine Media, and we make games for impact. And that have a little bit of educational elements here and there, but really we focus on making games that are different than the norm, and we really try to make beautiful experiences that celebrate something that usually is under people's radar, whether that be preservation of indigenous cultures or appreciation for the ocean and ocean conversation. Those are the types of things that we do, and I am very fortunate and very lucky to be able to fit the role of systems and gameplay design, which is almost like a unicorn type of role, because most often than not you will see men and white men in these very design heavy roles, and I am both a Latina and a woman in this role, so it really has been a joy to break that homogeneous cycle of being a designer in a space where it's predominantly filled with men. So I'm happy to be able to do that at my company. I'm also a proud co-founder of Latinx in Gaming, which is a nonprofit organization that focuses on amplifying and celebrating the voices and the work of Latinx games industry professionals, as well as games industry enthusiasts, people who really would like to get into the industry, whether they already have a career and would like to shift over, or if they're students trying to get their bearings, trying to start in their careers. We also support any type of role that is involved in the industry at large, so not just game devs, but also content creators and journalists, people in business and marketing, anything that has to do inside the games industry. We are here for our people, and also games industry adjacent, so people in STEM and more tech-oriented industries. So that's a little bit about me, superficially, but if we want to dive a little bit deeper, in case you want to know who I really am, I am from Puerto Rico, which is a small island in the Caribbean. It's a beautiful island. I miss it very, very, very much. And I am so incredibly happy to be Puerto Rican. I'm also half Puerto Rican, even though I was born and raised on the island. My father is Dominican, so I am Puerto Rican and Dominican. So yeah, that's definitely ingrained into the core of who I am, and it comes out in the way that I express myself, in the way that I think, in the way that I behave. Definitely my culture and my heritage are like embodied in just my personality and the way that I talk to people. What did I study? So my trajectory into games is pretty linear. I come from an academia and research background. I studied information technology when I got my bachelor's, and then I decided to go to graduate school and pursue a master's in game design at the University of Southern California. So that just means I really like to study. I really like learning a lot, and I just like to sharpen my skill sets. Some of the things that I like a lot of things, but off the top of my head, some things that I really am passionate about are cooking. I love to cook all kinds of food, and I love to try new things. So if you have recipes, or if you also like to cook, share those things with me, because I always like to learn new things, which is another thing that I like to do. I just like to learn. I like to watch YouTube videos and read books and articles about anything from coral restoration around the world to like weaving and beading. I just like to learn things. I love hiking, which the pandemic kind of has been a bummer, because I have not been able to travel to all the national parks here in the United States, which is something that I really want to do. I just love being in nature, and I love to experience it. So I hope that soon, once the pandemic is kind of like not necessarily when it has completely gone, well, I hope that that's the case soon, but once things start returning somewhat back to normal, I would love to go traveling again and hike around. And I also love to sing. So I've been singing since I was a kid. I was in a band in my teenage years and in my early 20s, which also gives me an ear for audio. So definitely helps in my design work, where I can I know the tone that I want something to have, so I'm able to find like audio effects and music samples that help bring ideas to life, which is really helpful for prototyping and things like that. And some things that I don't like, well, I'm terrified of birds, and I am most definitely scared of heights. And people always think it's so funny and weird that I'm terrified of birds, but I really have a good example. There's a reason why. So when I was in kindergarten, and I lived in Puerto Rico, growing up until I was 11. And in Puerto Rico, we went to a field trip when I was in kindergarten to kind of like a landmark or like a historical area in the capital of Puerto Rico, in San Juan. And the place is called Parque de las Palomas, which directly translated means Park of the Pigeons. And you can imagine kind of like what happened. So our teachers gave us bread to feed the pigeons. And I didn't listen to when they said, you should close your hand and have the bread in your hand and pick small pieces off and throw them away from you to feed the pigeons. And instead what I ended up doing was I opened up my hand really wide and just watched a legion of what seemed like thousands of pigeons. I'm sure it wasn't that many, but it seemed that way being a kid, of just lots of pigeons all around me, flapping their wings at me, pecking me everywhere. And that terrified me and traumatized me until this day. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to overcome that fear. But that's what happened, and that's why I'm scared of birds. So I will continue to stay away from birds and steer clear from them until I feel comfortable. And this is my cat, Callisto. I adopted her about 6 years ago. And there she is with her Mr. Mouse that she got for Christmas. She's definitely been a really big joy in my life, and she's a great cuddler. So let's see, one of the things that I kind of wanted to start talking about was like what leveling up and success looks like to other people. And here in this slide, like I have listed out some accomplishments that I have had over the past year, and degrees and certificates, and like my trajectory for promotions, like where I would like to get in my career, and when I become that creative director that I have been dreaming of since I started the games industry. Like, does that mean that I have leveled up and achieved success? Is that what people see success as? Excuse me. And externally, that is what a lot of people see my leveling up to be. They see the posts that I make on social media about awards and accomplishments. They see the links to the articles and the pictures, but they don't see really what I think is me leveling up. And what I think it's my leveling up are all the things that help me get to those accomplishments, to those certificates, and hopefully and potentially to all those promotions that I am aspiring to have. And to me, the leveling up are the sacrifices that I have made in order to learn new things, and in order to invest time in my professional development or my growth as a person, right? Disappointments and struggles, challenges, being rejected over and over again when I first started to apply for game jobs, where literally every single company was saying no, and I felt almost like maybe I shouldn't be pursuing the games industry. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. And also the loneliness, especially this past year during the pandemic, where we are all isolated, and it just feels like never ending. All these things are the things in my mind that I have felt that have helped me level up. They are the things that have made me grow, both as a person and as a game designer. Because I feel like me as a person influences who I am as a designer greatly, and in turn who I am as a designer influences who I am as a team member and who I am as a team leader. So it's really all interconnected, and you can't really separate one from the other. So what are those things that I have learned along the way that had helped me level up? It's not necessarily what has made me a better designer, like reading books about level design or combat design or articles on these things, but it's more what has helped me become a better person so that I can be better for other people and in turn build bridges and set examples for other people so that we can work well together. And I feel like that's really what has allowed me to become who I am today. And that's what I want to share. So first tip that I have learned is to trust yourself. From a very early age, I have been confronted with people who have not believed in me, people who put me down, people who say that I'm not capable, that I cannot get to where I want, that my dreams are setting the bar too high for myself. I have been through all those conversations with strangers, people that perhaps are acquaintances, and also with people who are my mentors and people who I thought were there to support me and to love on me. And what I have learned is that there is a negative and a positive response that you can have to those types of conversations and that type of feedback. Either you take it with a grain of salt and you thank the person for their feedback, but you follow your gut and you trust yourself in making decisions, or you allow negativity to really weigh you down and pull you back from chasing your dreams and create a bigger enemy for yourself inside yourself. So those are kind of like, to me, the two avenues that you can take when faced with situations, circumstances, whether you can choose whether you want to trust yourself or not. And I urge you, in whatever it may be that you may be facing, trust yourself. If that means to wait, if that means to be a go-getter and do something, if that means to stand up for somebody, if that means to mentor someone, do what it is that you feel in your gut that you should do. And I feel like more often than not, I would say 9 times out of 10, that is the right decision to do, both for yourself and the other person. The second tip is don't be afraid to ask for help. And trust me when I say this, that I have learned this the hard way, both at my job and in my personal life. As a designer, I am always afraid to take time from my team members, especially from engineers who I know have a lot of work on their plate, and I try to solve things on my own without asking for help. And I feel like that's also something that comes along with being a woman in the games industry, having the need to prove myself, to prove to myself and to the people around me that I'm just as capable of doing things. And I feel sometimes that can be something that pulls us back, and that could be a hindrance to our own personal growth. And I have come to find that it's better sometimes to be humble and understand that, hey, I don't know everything. I don't know the answer to this. Let me go to somebody who knows more than me, and who I can gain understanding and refine my perspectives and my skills, and even gain some of the strengths that used to be weaknesses, right? So there's always a time and place, right, to ask for help. But when you feel that you are getting frustrated, when you feel that perhaps you're banging your head against the wall too much and perhaps maybe you shouldn't need to, go ahead and ask for help, because you will feel a relief when you are able to solve the problem, and then you will just grow and become a better communicator because you are able to have conversations with other folks and gain understanding from other people. The third thing that I want to share is embrace your challenges and failures. And I know this is a tough one because I feel that in our societies, we are conditioned to feel that when you have a failure, it's a negative thing, that failing is bad, that is something that we shouldn't do, that we should always succeed. And that's never the case, especially in game dev. I have never designed something perfectly from the get-go. That has never happened. It's always an iterative process, a process of polishing, a process of refining. And in the same way that we polish our games and we go and play test and we ask feedback, right? In the same way, we should do that with our design work, that we should embrace when things are not going right and they're not perfect. In our personal lives, we should embrace whether we fail at something or succeed at something or face a challenge, right? Those things allow us to grow and they help us iterate on ourselves and polish ourselves in the same way that we work on our projects. And an example that I can share with you that happened to me very, very recently with a failure was a side project that I had been working on for the past year and a half with my partner. We're working on this game outside of our daily jobs, and we have been pouring out creativity and effort. My partner was investing development time with code and systems and architecture, and late last year we came to find that neither of us were as passionate about the project as we used to be, because somewhere along the line we changed something that we just didn't care for, right? We made decisions, design decisions and development decisions where we felt demotivated to keep working on those things. So what we ended up doing was completely redesigning the project and almost starting over from scratch. And at first I really thought that was a big failure, because I was like, wow, we have spent a year and a half on this and now we have to start over from the beginning. What a complete waste of time this year and a half has been. But you know what? It's not a waste of time, because both my partner and I have learned new things. We have expanded our horizons and we have learned new skill sets or refined skill sets that we already had. So really the time that we spent working on the first phase of that project wasn't in vain, because it allowed us to get prepared for this new phase in the project. So really it's almost like if we hadn't gone through that year and a half of development, we wouldn't be able to realize what that project could become, and we wouldn't have been able to set ourselves up for what we are creating now, which is something that we are super excited about and that we have been enjoying developing in the past month and a half or so. So definitely don't see challenges and failures as negatives. Embrace them and allow them to help you grow, and see them as learning experience that will propel you to that next level that you want to reach. And the fourth tip that I would like to share to you, which is really the one that hones in on the part of making a difference and being an impact, is giving back. So sharing with other folks resources and tools and knowledge that you have, being active in communities, having conversations with people, giving up your time and answering people's questions when they need it, and also celebrating, boosting and encouraging the people around you, boosting the projects from other teams from Code Coven, seeing the work of other indie developers on social media. Like, doing that allows you to build bridges, and it allows you to network. It allows you to even create friendships and understand other people's perspectives to inform your own, so that you can be inspired and motivated to create. It really helps even sharpen your communication so that you can talk with people better, both on social media with folks that you don't know, and also on your team, because in our line of work, we're constantly communicating and problem solving together. And the more that you can refine those skill sets in different scenarios, the better you will be at it. So I really encourage for you to get back in whatever community you are in, whatever country you're in. Find a place where you fit in and that you can give of yourself to other folks who need it, especially folks who are like you, who could really value and really have an amazing opportunity by hearing from you and for having you share what you have gone through and the things that you are working on. So like I said earlier, really becoming a better designer is and making an impact and becoming a better human being are all interconnected. By trusting yourself, you do make opportunities and open doors for yourself to grow as a professional and to open doors in relationships that you have with other people. By not being afraid or asking for help, you're sharpening your communication, which can help you across the board in your professional career, with your relationships outside of work as well. Embracing failures brings experience and growth to your life. Having struggles makes you relatable to other people, where you can sit down and encourage them when they're feeling down. Being rejected makes you resilient, and for every job rejection perhaps that you have, you're getting better at refining your resume, you're getting better at your cover letters, you're getting better at communicating with recruiters. So your time is not in vain. And giving back makes a difference. That's really when you sow seeds, and watching people grow is one of the most incredible feelings in the world, and I can really tell you that from experience, and Tara and the Code Coven team can say the same about each and every single one of you and how each of you have grown in the program. So I want to leave you with this quote that I found that I thought was really fitting to really tie like a nice big red bow to this keynote. And it is that every action we take impacts the lives of others around us. And the question is, are you aware of your impact? So I really invite you to sit down with yourself and ask yourself, what is the impact that I'm making to my friends? What is the impact that I'm having towards my teammates and the communities that I am in? What are the decisions that I'm making and the actions that I'm doing that are influencing people around me, whether that be negative or positive? And allow that to help you become the better designer that you want to be and the better person that you want to become. And what I want to leave you with here is for those of us who love herbal medicine. This Herbal Shed is for protecting negative energies. It smells really good. So if you want to take a screenshot of it and make it for yourself, I encourage you to do it. I just want to do something a little bit special for all of you here at Code Coven. So again, thank you so much, Tara and team at Code Coven, for allowing me to give you this short keynote. Thank you for listening, everybody. I hope that you were able to take away some little nuggets of knowledge, that you were inspired and motivated. And always know that we are all here for you. We are rooting for you. We're supporting you in all your endeavors and your growth. If you ever feel like you would like to ask me a question, or if you want me to expand on anything that I shared today, feel free to send me an email or a DM on my Twitter. My handle is @Julatastic. And I just wish you all the best. Continue to grow and chase after your dreams. Have an incredible time here at Modern Magicks. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye. Thanks for everything.